I welcome you to this first session of Python programming. And here we are going to discuss practically this course, how to use ideal editor to type Python programs, as well as we install Visual Studio Code as an integrated development environment. As well, we discuss set up Python on system and type the first program. So let's begin. Python is interpreted programming language, and the coding is a case sensitive. So it is case sensitive language. The syntax comparing to all other programming languages, Python is different. In Python, we import modules as required. Then we type functions, we call functions, we type instructions. And Python is a very straightforward language. Like variable declaration, the types, the steps we do, they are totally different than other programming languages. For example, the programming languages C, C++, Java, we first declare the variable and then we ask user to enter any number. To take that input from user, we again call some functions like scanf, cin, or scanner class object, methods, next int. So we need to do some steps to take input from user. But in Python, we can do this everything only using one function input. Even I ask user to enter in number, and on the same line I can convert that value to the integer type. So it is a very straightforward language. And the Python language need interpreter that we download from python.org. Python.org. So from this you can download Python interpreter. Many versions of Python interpreter are available. You can download the latest one, Python 3.8. So I show you how you can download and install Python. So here I show you how to download Python interpreter. I search for Python org, and on this site you will see one option downloads. From there you can click Python 3.8. So clicking that option downloads Python for your computer. You can download Python for Mac OS, Windows. So here we have a link. Once you complete the download, then you click on that setup file and you can install Python. So just few seconds it downloads, and after that I show you how to install Python. Python installation you can do to the default directory, means in the C drive it installs the Python, or you also can decide where to install Python. You can customize the installation, and once you install you need to set the path, environmental path, because the Python interpreter, once you install, then to run the Python programs you need to hit the command Python, and that command we just need to set up in the environmental settings. You can see the Python installation is done. If I double click, then it asks me where to install Python, and it gives me the two choice. Either you install in the default C users, app data, local programs. So you can customize this installation, and this you can change the location to somewhere else. Something you can select the group, particularly any drive, any folder, and then if you click OK, it installs Python in that particular directory. Just remember where you install Python, because as we go deep in Python programming, we need to access the Python directory for many reasons. Now here also you can check these options on add Python environmental variables and install for all others. Then you click on install. I just cancel because already installed. And once you install, how I can check Python installation done correctly or not? So for that you can do is you open command prompt, and there you can type a command Python minus minus version. So if you type this command, it should print the Python version. To open command prompt, you can search it in the start button, or you can press a shortcut and you press the command cmd. This area you type Python minus minus version. I press enter. So my system it prints 3.7.2, and you also can cross check with your system Python installation done correctly or not. So what I done is I opened command prompt, and then here the command you can see Python minus minus version it prints. The latest version of Python is 3.8, but my system I installed Python 3.7. I here close this window. Once the Python installation done, the next step is click on the start button and you can check one another folder called Python 3.7. So this we have some files. The first is the ideal tool where you can type Python programs. The same Python 3.7, it is also one similar ideal tool, and here we have a manual and documentation of Python. So if I click on that tool, it the interface is like a notepad. Here we have some menus, and here I can type my program. Now here I can type program. Python programs we not compare with other programming languages. It's totally different. So from scratch I here going to show you the syntax of Python program. So I directly can write print function. I type there hello world, complete the bracket and press enter, and it prints the output. Generally the code we type compile to check errors, to check the all instructions are correct or not, and then we run the program. So some programming languages, they are compiled programming languages. They need compilation process. Python is not compiled programming language. It is an interpreted programming language. That means we type program and we run program. We know compile the code. So type and execute. This window is a Python shell, and the instructions execute once you press enter. So block of code on the shell window we not type. We just type a single instruction and run the program. If you want to type program, then click on this option file, and the option I select new file. One window, you can see a blank window like a notepad appears once I select a new file. Now this area I can type program. Now here I am going to type Python program. So this area I keep one side, and the program window I keep one side. I here type print function, and let's say there I type hello user, welcome to Python programming. This is my first statement. But where is main function? Where is something like header file, or where is structure of Python? So there is no definite structure. The Python is straightforward. We directly type the statements, and this is how you can type print function in Python. So you also can type more than one statements in this window. If I type here, let's say Python is interpreted programming language, and now I want to run this program. So first save the file. I here choose the one folder in the drive. Here I save my file. Remember the extension must be .py. Click save, and then the next step is you click on the run button, and here is the option run module. So The Python shell, the output is hello user, welcome to Python programming. The second statement, Python is interpreted programming language. I create one another file and we keep one side. This area we type again one another program. You also comment your program. You can type some note just to understand the objective of this program. The command to type following hash symbol, I type write a program to print name, education and city. The next line I type print function and here I type name is equal to, I type name. Then the next line again I type education. Many print functions you can type. I type some education and the next line here you type city. I type city. I save this code. The shortcuts you can use Control S. You decide where to save your program. So I choose this one and here I type my program name program2.py. I click save button. The next part is to run the program. So to run the program in the run option I click run module. So this window you can see it shows me the output. I introduce you some another IDE tools for Python. This is the default one comes with Python Ideal. This Ideal tool is also great to go. As a beginner, you can use this Ideal tool. You can type programs, you can run programs. And to open that shell, you can click the start button and search for Python Ideal. And here is the tool Python Ideal. So this interface is easy to understand. As a beginner, you can type some programs. You can click on file, you can click on new file. Here you type something, save the code, and from the run option, you can run the code. But there is no intelligence. It not suggest you the errors or it not suggest you any coding lines. Some editors, if you see, like while we type, it suggests some code. At least it suggests it auto completes the name of function. So that type of editors also you use. So here I type some name of editors for Python programming, Python editors. So you can use the default one Ideal or you can go for Visual Studio Code. Otherwise you can install PyCharm. Otherwise install Eclipse plugin, that is PyDev, or you install Sublime Text editor. So they are all the Python editors. Even Spider is there, Jupyter Notebook is there. Okay, as requirement we install some new editors. Now I'm going to show you installing Visual Studio Code. And from this window I can download Visual Studio Code for my system. I installed already. Just I'm going through some steps to show you. I click on option Windows. I'm using Windows. If you are a Mac user, you can select Mac. So here I have an option. I can just click on Windows and it starts downloading. You can see thanks for downloading Visual Studio Code. Just wait. It starts download. And once it completes the download, install Visual Studio Code. So here you install Visual Studio Code, and to download this Visual Studio Code, you can use this link visualstudiocode.com. Once you download Visual Studio Code, the next is you install extensions because that extension help you to indent your Python program as well as it help you to run Python program. Okay, so it's downloading, and let me cancel because already I downloaded. The steps to install, they are very similar, very same as you install other softwares. And once you install, you will see this logo. I double click this logo, and as the first time you need to install extensions. This Visual Studio Code is a software IDE tool and used for coding, web designing, web programming languages, Python, Java, C, C++, C Sharp, even many programming languages support is given in the Visual Studio Code, but we are now going to use Visual Studio Code for Python. So here is one option called extensions. The Visual Studio Code comes with the blank extension. The extension means you are going to add some support for your coding language. So you are here installed the Visual Studio Code for Python. So you need to install the Python interpreter. Sorry, you install the Python extension. I search Python, and it show me some related extensions for Python. See, if I install the Python, then it help me in debugging the program, some intelligence enabled globally. So while I type programs, it suggests me some coding lines. It suggests me some function names, some standards. So if I install this one, this is a extension for again Python. Many extensions are available. Okay, so you can choice extension depends on the views, depends on the uses, depends on the users. So that's you can here use the Python extension. Now you can see if you install the kite autocomplete for Python and Java, so it makes the code faster. The artificial intelligence help you to assist the programming lines. I installed this one only, so you also install the first one. You can see 23.9 million users downloads are there. I click on that, and the option you will see install. I already installed. Once you install, that's it, your work done. Now the next step you have to do is click on the file menu, then you click on the open folder, and you just select where you want to save your programs. I want to save my programs in this folder. I click on select folder. The workspace I created, and I just open that workspace in Visual Studio Code. You can see here the option called File Explorer. This is search option. This is a source control. Or another option to run the programs. You can debug your programs, extensions, and now here I click on a new file. I create another file program 3.py. I press enter. The new blank file is done. I created one new blank file. So this interface is something feels like a coding window, and the programming keywords, function names, variables, symbols, all that Visual Studio Code shows you in a different color. It just keeps your good concentration on coding. So this interface I like most. That's why I'm using this Visual Studio Code here. So you also can install any of the editor you like. As a beginner, I suggest you can go for Ideal, but for coding, of course, you also can install Visual Studio Code. So this window I type comment like this hash. I type write a program to demonstrate variables. So the next line I type name is equal to Akash. So name is called variable. Variable is just identification. Means the value what you type, that is stored somewhere, and that part is called a variable. It is an identifier. In many of the languages, we declare variable like this in string type or in float type. We declare variable and then we go for coding. But in Python, we no need to declare variable. We just store value to that variable, and while we run the code, Python interpreter reserve the memory space for name variable, and the next line you can print that value. Let's say you can type name is equal to comma name. That means you want to print value of variable. And this window, while you type in lines, while you type any function name, the IntelliSense properties help you to auto complete the function name. You can see as I go for the print function, it shows me some more options, some notes about the print function, syntactical example. So that means it really helps to auto complete the function name, and as well I can understand the use of this function. The parameters also it shows you. So here I type the print function, and here I type name is equal to comma name. The variable is identifier, and you follow some rules to type the name of variable. The first rule is variable name you begin with any alphabet. In that variable name you not include any space. As well, symbols not allowed in the name of variable, and they are very basic rules. So this is a variable, and I print value of variable name. Next line I type age is equal to any value, let's say 34. The next line again I type age is equal to comma age. I here print the value of age. So Python is different. Many programming languages, what we do is we there also type identifiers. Some programming languages, instead of comma with their give plus symbol, or the operator left shift or right shift, means the part programming language syntax is different. Python is also here following some rules. Python syntax is different than other languages. So you can see how you can create variables and print the values. And very easily you can create variable. Now here a syntactical lines like to declare, and then you define the variable. Semicolon is not required in Python. It's optional. And even if you give, the interpreter ignores that semicolon. So in Python uses very less number of brackets. Even you can say no brackets while we type Python program. It follows some indentation rules, and it creates the scope. So very minimum number of brackets we use in the Python program, so that uh, makes our program more readable and uh, clean code. Now I save this code. To run Python program in Visual Studio Code, you can see here one option, your interpreter name. So if you not see that interpreter name in your Visual Studio Code, then don't worry. While you type Python program, it automatically notify you that you not enabled Python or Visual Studio Code. So you can enable by clicking that option, and you can click on the run button to run Python program. You can see it prints name and age. But this is the one first method to run the program. I like second one. What is second one? I go for terminal. I open terminal. Terminal means command prompt window, and here you type the Python as an interpreter name, and after that you type program name. So the program name is program 3.py, means manually you are going to hit the command Python is the interpreter name and program 3.py is the file name. So as a programmer, you can hit the commands from the command prompt, and many times we need to use this command prompt just to keep this approach long time. I'm using this terminal. I type Python as the interpreter name, and then the file name ends with the .py extension. I press enter and it prints the answer, name and age of the user. If you type CLS, that means it clears the screen. So this is a terminal window. You can close from here. I create one another file. I click on new file. I type program4.py, and here I type over another code. I again explain you about the variables, but along with some types. Variables and data types in Python. So like other programming languages, in Python also we have data types. They are integer, float and character. Character, it is only we type str and chr, but we not type chr. It is a one function. Here we type only three types: integer, float, string. Okay, so integer stands you type any whole number, float stands you type any decimal value, string means you can type any text. These are the three types. They need some memory space as well. We discussed that point as well. And to create any variable of type integer, there is no any particular syntax to declare variable. But if you type any integer value to any variable, that means it is an integer. You no need to manually tell your instruction lines that this is integer. The interpreter auto identify and makes the type integer. If you type gender is equal to, here you type the double quotes data, so Python interpreter understands this is a text, this is string. If you type, let's say percentage is equal to any decimal value, so the interpreter understands it is a decimal value. But how I can confirm, how I can cross check, is it really integer, string or percentage as a float? So you can type is type of variable number is equal to call a function type, and there you pass variable name. Let's see what happens. I just follow some here steps to type the print function, and I type the type of variable gender is equal to comma, type in bracket. I again here pass that name of variable. The next line I'll try for type of variable percentage is equal to comma. Type is the name of function, and in the bracket I pass the variable name. I save this code, and I just told you how to run program. Either you click that green button to run, or either you can open terminal. Shortcut button to open terminal is control and tilde symbol. On keyboard below the escape key you will find a one tilde sign. So you press the shortcut control tilde icon, and now you can type the command python, and file name is program4.py. I press enter, and it shows the output. Type of variable number is integer, gender is string, and percentage is float. So I just told that you no need to manually declare a variable. Python interpreter auto identify and define the type of variable. So that is how Python variables you declare, and you can print the type of that variable. So can I type the same variables again? The same name variables you can create. A note I keep here, that is same name variable you can create in Python. So I again here go for one another file to just demonstrate how it works. Program5.py. and this window I type again one comment, same name variables. Consider our variable called x. I store value 38 and then I type print value of x is equal to, I print x. But later again I type 67 in the same variable and again I type value of x is equal to comma x. Maybe here I try again, y is equal to 10 and y is equal to 20. Next line I print first time y is equal to comma y, and the next line again I type second time y is equal to comma y. So I save this code and see what happens. I'm using the same name variable. In other languages, it raise error, same name variables not allowed. But in Python, you create same name variable, it is not error. I open terminal and I type the command name Python and then the file name is program5.py. I press enter, so it prints the value of x is 38. After that, it prints the value of x is 67, and the two lines it prints y is 20, y is 20. So Python interprets all the statements line by line. So when the line interprets x is equal to 38, the next line it prints the value of x. After that, it rewrite the value of x and it prints the value of x. Next, it interprets the line y is equal to 10, and the next line it rewrites the value of y and it makes the value of y as 20. That's why the statement after the line y is equal to 20, of course Python prints the value of y is 20. Hope you understood. In Python you can type the same name variables. So this is what you can type some programs, you can set up Visual Studio Code, you can set up the ideal tool, try some programs and do some basic settings. You can start coding Python. So how to take input from user? I close this file and now I create one another file. This is program 6.py. I show you how to take input from user. Some programming languages like C, C++, there we call functions scanf and scene. But in Python, we don't have functions like that. I just comment my code first as write a program to input name and print on output screen. So here I type name is equal to input. Input is the name of function. You can label that input function that enter name. And the next line I type print hello name. It prints the name of user. I save this program and after that to run the code, open terminal and here you hit the command Python and the file name program6.py. I just again repeat, name is equal to input. It means input is the name of function is used to take input from user, and whatever the input from user is, I store in the variable name. The next line I just print that value. You can see it asks me to enter name. It is a labeling. This line is similar to printf and scanf. I here type name of user. Let's say name of user is here and I press enter. It prints that value. You can take many inputs. Like if you can take is education is equal to, I again type input. I type enter education. The next line again I print that print you done education. The next line I ask user to enter city. So here I ask enter city. And the next line I can print you are from city. And I save this code. Here we type Python space, file name is program 6.py. So it asks me name, let me type name. It asks me education, let me type some education. And then it asks me city, I type city. It prints that all the values. So easy. In Python, you need no need to worry about the variable names. Even if you declare so many times, you can create the variable for many times. It is not error in Python. And to take input, it's very straightforward. You just call function input and you can label that something enter city, enter education. And the next lines you can print the values. One another interesting program I discussed with you, how to print all the variable values using single printf function. I here create one another file, program 7.py, and this file I'm going to explain you a single print function, how you print many values. Print function to print many variable values. Let's say here we declare some variables like employee code, then employee name, and then salary. I want to print all these three values. So one choice is what? I can type employee code is equal to employee code. Next line I type employee name is equal to employee name. The next line I again type print salary is equal to salary. So the three different print functions is the first method. Another you can do is type only one print function to print all the values. And for that, in the print function, I type employee code is equal to comma employee code. I just give comma. Again, just I continue with employee name is equal to comma employee name. The slash t is a escape sequence character just to break some spaces. Again, I give comma. Here I type salary is equal to salary. And this is how you type program in Python. Single print function to print many variable values. I save and here we run the code. Program is program 7. When any mistake you do in code, it prints a traceback error. It first tells you where is the error, line number 9. Then it prints what? Which code raise error. So the error is name emp spelling check is not defined. Just I correct it. This one I save. Again I go for terminal and here I run program again. It is program 7.py and that's now correct. The first method it prints the three different lines. Second print function it prints all the variables in the same line, and because of slash t it breaks some spaces. So that is how you can call print function to print many variable values. The session today I just covered is introduction to Python, and we just set up and done some basic programs. So I wish you happy learning. You also do some practicals, set up the Python and start coding.